Okay, not sure how much of that we got because the camera shut itself off. Don't work on too many of these because these are 20 plus years old. The oldest one of these, youngest one is probably 21, 22 years old. Anyway, there's two buttons on the back. There's like a reset button or something. Reset, and then the other one is set clock. But the reset one, you can scroll through the channel outputs for the relays, but we've probably only got 4 channels because we've got agitator 1, agitator 2 for the 2 rotations, and compressor 1 and compressor 2. Well, we've got channel 2 on, which I think is compressor 2. That relay there is pulled in, but we've got no compressor, so we're going to check to see if we've got power coming off of the board. Okay, that's channel 2 output, so we've got 240 volts coming off the board. Where's the button? Well, that's channel 3, that's the power going round anti-clockwise. Channel 4 doesn't do anything, so it might not be wired up or configured, but they were wired that you could run the paddle in opposite directions. That's back to the off. Channel 1, we can hear that first compressor come on. Which is that one, bottom one. Channel 2, right, let's go and have a look. Okay. You have to be careful with these, if you bend them too much they snap off. It's also run off this panel where the door's not, is the door shut? Oh, it is shut, but it's not shut properly, so something going on with that. So we should have control circuit in here, which is going to be your phases are there, 1, 2, 3. Then it's your fan motor connections. These two are your crankcase heater, and then the pressure switch control circuit is these two. Hang on. Nothing on that one, and power on that one, so that is off on the pressure switch. That's off on the pressure switch, that's why that's not working. This is on R22, so better check with that coil's good, because we don't want, if we put the gauges on, we've got to take the gas out of it. If that coil's failed and it's still got gas in it but it's all backed up behind here, we don't want to be having to put a solenoid coil on there and change all the gas when all we need to do is put a coil on there. So we need to, where does this go? Oh, that's wired back. That's wired back down to here and then goes up in that tube. We could probably put the cover off and put the volt stick in there, see if we've got any power at it. Okay, we've got no power at the solenoid, so it's probably not pumped down. It might just come on when the contactor pulls in. Some of them are done like that, they're not on pump down. And they can get them in a situation where they go off on low pressure, and because they don't reset, the valve never opens to let the gas go around again. This is the one that's got that crimped pipe, so it could be that where that pipe's been pinched shut. Okay, we've got the coil off, and then we've got a screwdriver stuffed in there temporary. Do not leave them like that. You'll... Right. That's opened. We've not heard any gas go through. So it's looking like there's no gas in this. So we have to put gauges on and see what it does. Okay, gauge is on. Moment of truth. That's what's in the gauge line. Nothing. 10 psi. And the high side. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Now we're up shit creek. Well, if we've got no flow through that valve, next thing we're looking at is the expansion valve knackered. Okay, well I don't think, even though that pipe's really squished, I don't think it would pinch the gas off completely to have 100 psi on the high side and 10 on the low. If it was, it would be bleeding through and sweating. So it might be something as simple as the bellows has failed in the valve, which they do tend to batter this. I think the washing pipe for the parlour and the delivery line, it swings round to here when they put milk in it, and then they batter it when it goes back, which is why that valve's bent over like this. That's why we previously put this on there as a flexible, because they kept batting the old rigid line valve, I think. That would be the next place to look, see if we've got any pressure in the bellows. Okay, I'm digging a deeper hole now. We've rounded that off a bit so it would flow, so it's not that's the problem. With the pinch off tool, I think it's 174 or something, 105 FF Imperial Eastman. So well worth getting if you can get hold of one. Unfortunately, that little pipe under there has had enough, and that little bit of movement, it's cracked. So the lesson here is, if you see a bent pipe, don't straighten it, leave it alone. You don't know how much more bend it's got left in it. Yep. Yeah. So we might, well, gonna have to take that all apart. I have to degas it anyway, so we can sort that out. Straighten up, maybe put a bit of braze in there or something. Okay, we've put them a note saying not to milk into it, it's got water in it. Drain the water out first if we're not back. Might move my steps out of the way so they don't, I should be, unless it goes severely wrong, I should be back. Lights, is that one. Basically you've got to take the gas out of it, because I'm on R22, and I filled my recovery bottle up the other day and I haven't got an empty one on the van, so we'll have to go off and get something. Come back, take the gas out, we've got to try a power element on that valve, and we'll have to change the oil in the compressor, because this is a mineral oil compressor. The age of it is KP, so K's the month, and P's the car reg, which is P reg was 96. So it's, what is that? 26 years old, something like. Yeah, so it needs oil change and a dryer. We should have a dryer on the van. Okay, we have to go off here recovery bottle because all my ones on the van are full up, so it should have about 4.5 kilos in it. The customer's decided he doesn't want to repair it because they're only going to have milk in here for a couple of months, not longer. So because we've had our gauges on there, we can't leave it with the gas in, so we'll recover that and leave the system empty. We'll probably braze that leak up on the valve just so it doesn't get any moisture in there in the meantime, just in case we get the job of putting this in somewhere else, or they decide to run it again. They might, might decide they want it fixed if this one packs up or something. We don't know what's around the corner. So we'll get this degassed and get that leak raised up, and then we'll make it run so that this one always runs. Because at the moment I think they alternate. If you don't press the high yield button, I think it only runs one compressor, and I think it alternates which one it runs. So we'll just wire the two relay outputs together. Okay. We've blobbed a bit of braze on there just to keep any moisture out. If he wants to get it working again, he probably wants a new piece of pipe in there and something doing with that, because that's got leak written all over it as well. Yeah, anyway, that'll keep it leak tight for now. Okay, that's that bottom one running with a full tight bus. Okay, got that link wire in there, so if we link the two cooling relays together, let's turn that off. Turn it on. First time you press it, see that? There we go. It's having a bit of a fit, this board. I think we might be pressing the button where it's on the edge. Push it again. That's to set the time. So that's flashing, so it should be time delay. If we press it again, it should stay on, and then it should bring the cooling on. There can be like a 30-second delay while it thinks about it, and that's brought the top relay on. And if we press the off, press cooling again. Press it again, it should be flashing. Flashing, press again, and then it should be on permanent. Flashing is a time delay or something, or it's off because it's cold, I think. There we go. And that's the top one. And if we press high yield, I think it should bring the bottom one on. Yeah, see that bottom one's come on now. If we turn the high yield off, the bottom one's come off. Turn it back on. Just think about it for a while. It's on. If you notice that display blinks, let's try and turn that off. Also, I think if you press deep cool, I think that brings them both on. Yeah, now the bottom one's come on. I think they stage them. I think the top one should come on. Yeah, the top one's come on. That's how they were getting this cool the other day. We're putting the deep cool on. And then you can actually go back to normal cooling in deep cool. Oh, we've hit the reset button where that board's moved. Or the clock button rather. The cable's not really long enough to move the lid anywhere else. It should be thinking about cooling now. Yeah, see that time the top one's on. The top one again. Earlier when I did it we had the bottom one come on, so I do think it does alternate between them, so it evens out the run time, unless you've got the high yield function on. Anyway, whichever one the board asks to run, it's going to run the bottom one which still works, so it will still cool. So that's kind of proved that works. Okay, that's kept running. There's a bit of an odd noise to it. I don't know if the fan's on the way out, or it might just be the noise where it's pulling the air through the movers. It just sounds a bit odd. It's only got to last a couple of months, I suppose. We've put a little note on there, a brief description of what we've done, because I'll probably forget if I come back here. Why that's off, and why it's got no gas in it, or in case somebody else gets called to it. Anyway, that's that done. I don't think we've left any tools other than them. Oh, that's the phone. It's down to 4.4. It was 8 something when I turned it on. It would be nice to see it turn off, but I don't want to wait around too long, so I might start draining the water out, because the less water that's in there, the quicker it will cool it. And then we'll put it on to do a wash afterwards, or a rinse, just to melt any ice that's built up. Have a look in there. Yeah, we're well above the paddle. Okay, it's just shut off at 3.8, so if we press the deep cool, it should bring the cooling back on again. Here we go. And I think, I'm not sure with these ones, the newer ones, it'll run it for half an hour, or like half a degree lower, and whichever it gets to first is what turns it off. So it'll turn off on temperature or time. So yeah, that all appears to work. So finish draining the water out of there. Okay, just put that onto rinse, and that'll melt any ice out of there we've got in there, cooling that water down.